Welcome to the Esports Business Podcast, where we connect the time-tested principles of business and team management with the rapidly growing esports industry. I'm Ben Wiggins. Thanks for checking in with us.
Adrian and Tim from Salad.io are joining us today to talk about their new product, Salad, a digital service aiming at monetizing the idle time of gaming computers. They'll be talking about how they got their business running as well as their take on cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. Salad has just started its open beta testing, and we're super excited to help them introduce this service to the gaming community. But before we get into the interview, let's go over some headlines.
Recruiting officials are screening more than 4,000 applications from soldiers who hope to be chosen to play video games full-time for the Army. U.S. Army Recruiting Command may select up to 30 of the service's top gamers to be on the new Army esports team and compete in local, regional, and national gaming tournaments. The Army esports team, which will become part of the new Marketing and Engagement Brigade based at Fort Knox, Kentucky, is a component of the new recruiting strategy the service launched after it missed its annual recruiting goal last year by 6,500 soldiers. Adam Nelson, founder of Philly Esports, had this to say: "It is great to see the United States military get involved with esports. As an Army veteran myself and an esports business owner, I see only positive things to come from this news. We can all see the collegiate scene for gaming growing exponentially, and it's only a matter of time until there is an official NCAA-type organization for esports. Having gaming involved with the military will not only help drive recruitment, but also adds more opportunities for the incredibly valuable skill set the military gives each and every service member to shine." So this is really only a bad story if you think the armed forces are a bad thing. While no one likes the idea of war, we are very grateful for our service people, and I'm thrilled to see the U.S. Army coming to esports, and it's just more legitimacy. Everybody's waking up a little more every day to the fact that esports are serious business, and it really helps people to get involved in esports in many of the same ways that it helps to get involved in traditional sports. Esports are here to stay, and I'm glad that the U.S. military understands that. In an interview with DailyEsports.gg, Rocket League Championship Series caster Yumi was asked if he would move regions from Oceania if given the opportunity. He responded, quote, "Hell yeah, it's the same with the Drippe thing who moved to North America. There's no way to truly earn a living here as a caster. I get paid less than an RLCS caster, and there's less work, so it's tough. Realistically, I need to go and find a part-time job now. If I could move to America, I'd suddenly be earning twice as much per broadcast and doing twice as many broadcasts. And I think that Oceanic and even European casters are sometimes overlooked because of the travel and visas required. So if I was overseas, I'd potentially get more casting opportunities, which is what everyone wants to do." Now, this is a little sad because we're already seeing some of the symptoms of the economic haves and have-nots in esports. The fact that Yumi would consider a region move is honestly smart. Many people go to jobs in bigger cities or leave college to go somewhere where they'll have better opportunities but are away from family. Even in traditional sports, players often go to larger media markets because there are more endorsement opportunities there. But it's still sad that it has to be this way. We want every market to be successful, but we just can't deny economic reality. Competitive Tetris isn't a totally new concept, but Polygon recently did a brief review on Tetris 99, which came out last month, puts you against 98 opponents and slowly amps up the pressure. As other players drop out, you become more likely to suffer from the garbage blocks piled on you by players doing better. This mimics the Battle Royale mechanic of forcing you into conflict with the remaining survivors until only one person is left standing. You can flunk out early due to some bad luck, or find yourself stuck in a battle of wills and frantically T-spinning against one other person for the final win. There is some luck, but it's mostly skill, and it works. Tetris Battle Royale, as strange as it sounds on paper, was a good idea. Tetris 99 captures so many of the feelings of a tense match of PUBG, or a frantic firefight in and around a building in the final zone of Apex Legends, even though the games are radically different. So here's my hot take of the day. I applaud them for trying, but I don't think this is going to work. I love Tetris. I've played hundreds, if not thousands of games of Tetris, but I just don't think people are going to show up to watch it the way they're going to show up to watch League or Overwatch or Apex Legends even. And it's not a battle royale issue, although my thoughts on battle royale are well known as an esport. I love battle royale games, but I don't think they're good esports in general. Tetris has a different issue, which is it's just not visually stimulating enough. Overwatch is really fun to watch, like watching first-person POVs of dive comps notwithstanding, but the game is beautiful. It's really, really well visually put together. And Tetris, like, it could be exciting to watch Tetris 99, but I just don't think there's enough happening on screen. I'm ready to be wrong, but I don't think it's going to work. Our guests today visit us from Salad. We have Adrian, one of the co-founders. Adrian, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
Doing great. And we have Tim, the lead developer. Tim, what's up?
Hello. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you here. So is that an apt description of what you're doing? I mean, in the simplest terms, you're doing stuff with crypto. Tell us about blockchain. Are you solving a problem? What are people using video cards for?
Yeah, definitely. So the way I like to describe blockchain to people is that it's a really, really slow file cabinet. It's essentially a technology that lets us track data in a way that's different from other web technologies like the average database, and that no one can meddle with the contents. That's sort of a simplified description, but the gist of it is that it trades efficiency for this real safeguard that that whatever data goes in is exactly the data that's going to come out, and no one can fiddle with it. There's no one who's in control. And so the problem that we're solving really right now is that interfacing with some of these mining clients for actually interacting with the blockchain takes a bit of work. They're not the most user-friendly pieces of software, and we want to just make it as straightforward as possible for the average gamer, the average person with a powerful GPU to contribute to a lot of these networks. So we're not really solving a specific problem on any specific blockchain network. We want to be agnostic between all of the different options out there, Ethereum, Monero, etc. And our goal is really to just let users contribute to any of these.
So what exactly does Salad do? Going out of order a little bit here, but describe your service in a little more detail.
Sure. So we're essentially an application where users can load up, detect their graphics card, and we'll match them to whatever chain we think they should be best contributing towards. And I guess what we mean by that is, you sign up with Salad and you don't need to know anything about crypto. You'll start earning real dollars. You can throw them towards rewards that matter to you as a gamer, be that Amazon or Steam or any number of specific game keys. So we sort of take this custodian problem out of crypto in that, sometimes when you mine and you get 0.01 ETH, that doesn't necessarily mean anything to you as someone who's new to the space.
And I'll jump in here quickly. I think that's a very good description. Like at the end of the day, the blockchain part is not as important for us. Just think about Salad as a way for gamers to earn money with their high-powered computers. And by money, we mean like when you mine cryptocurrency, you get Ethereum or Bitcoin and you don't know what to do with it. With us, you earn a few cents on our platform. You can donate it to some kind of charity, or you can buy a Steam code, or you buy a $5 Amazon gift card and you go and buy something with it. What happens on the back end is really not important for the user to really know about. They might be interested in it, what the blockchain does, but our concept is that we give people something they actually care about in return for their compute power.
So let's talk about you guys. Let's talk about the business itself. How did your team form? Were you guys all friends before, or was it just one connection at a time?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'll start with Bob and myself, Adrian, the two co-founders. We actually got in touch through a common friend, and we met at CES about a bit more than 2 years ago, out in Las Vegas. CES, a consumer electronics show. We're both there for our respective companies at the time. I was in strategy consulting. Bob was at the fastest drone company in the world. And so we're both excited about technology. So we got in touch. We talked about different things. We both were very interested in blockchain and crypto at the time. And about a year later, we actually decided, we came up with this idea and thought, okay, let's jump into it. We both quit our jobs and started fundraising. And then I might let Tim was our first hire, and I'll let him say how we actually got him looped into this whole thing.
Yeah, so I was in my last month of university, and I ended up publishing some thesis work for my master's degree that touched on the use of blockchain in gaming. And that's how I ended up coming across Bob and Adrian's radar. Did a little bit of work with them over the summer, and yeah, I'm really happy now to be here at lead developer. It really just seems like a really little fortuitous turn of events that brought me together with these guys.
Tim was actually supposed to start out Amazon Web Services out in Boston, but we grabbed him last minute, and he came over to us instead, which was fantastic for us as well. He's building the heart of this application, and this really, from a developing perspective, he's building what Salad is today and will be in the future.
You guys mentioned funding earlier. Tell us how you have funded the idea so far. What sites have you used to reach out to potential investors? Have you done crowdfunding? What marketing tools or strategies have you employed to get people to support your business before it even existed?
I think the way we started is we put together a pitch deck, a PowerPoint presentation really to just describe our idea. We did a lot of homework on the technology front, for example. We put some of our own money into it to start for the first few months. We didn't pay ourselves anything, but we could get a few contractors like Tim to actually help us build out what the application should look like from a technology perspective. So kind of like put that whole pitch together, but without any product at all. And we're based here in Utah, which is actually quite a good environment for venture capital. So we more or less talked with every venture capital you could find here in Utah. We flew out to San Francisco a few times. We pitched to probably at the end, we reached out to probably more than 100 VCs and probably pitched more than 50. And finally got 2 investors that decided to invest money into us. And from there now, a 3rd investor actually jumped on. We got a follow-on round by our existing investors. So I would just say, don't stop trying. It took us a really long time to secure the funding. It was a few months. But if you have a great idea, it's about finding people who are passionate about what you do and who you are. And once you find someone who really likes it, they will go along with it and you take it from there. And once you actually have one of the investors, they will be happy to help you with the next investor. So we got introduced to our second investor through our first investor. He was part of an angel group, so many places have angel networks. So you can go and pitch instead of to one person, it's a whole angel group, and you might have the chance to talk to 10, 20, 30 at once. And someone might actually be really excited and help you build your business.
I think when our listeners will hear about, you pitching your idea, I think they'll immediately think to the show, Shark Tank or whatever, and they'll think you're pitching, in front of like some, power players. But I'm located near the Silicon Valley. I understand that there's a lot of companies that consistently pitch to bigger, like you said, VC, or they they pitch to individuals. And I think it's really important that you guys touched upon that. You know, you just have to keep going. And you said you went through, would it be hundreds of people? You did 100 or so pitches before you found like the right people. When you guys are originally, you know, funding and pitching this idea, where was the point where you decided to, you know, I don't want to say target, but when was it that you decided to, you know, really hone in on, you know, we can make this a service for gamers and not a service for a housewife or, you know, a businessman? You know, I mean, are you guys gamers? Does it come from your background? Is it someone from, you know, someone that's helping you with your funding? Like, who kind of developed that idea that this is going to be profitable, or not profitable, this is going to be, we're going to try to harmonize with gamers?
Well, the idea actually came from using a gamer's computer for mining cryptocurrency. We thought, oh, wait, how many gamers are out there? I mean, I used to be a hardcore gamer when I was in high school. I'm not as much anymore these days, and Bob was the same. Like, when we were younger, we were extremely active gamers, and it's not that we completely lost touch with it, but we're maybe like Tim, for example, or Jared, our community manager, they're still like hardcore gamers today. And I myself got a lot more into it again. I got an Oculus Rift a few years ago when it came out. And so I had a good enough computer, Bob as well. So we were like, wait, we can use these to mine cryptocurrencies. And then we looked into the market and saw, hey, there's about 400 million high-end PC gamers. So that means people who have like a good NVIDIA graphics cards, like a 1060, 1080, something like that. And we were just astonished by how big this market is compared to the number of people who do crypto mining out there. And it was this phase, like when people bought graphics cards for 50, 100% more than what their list price were. And we were like, wait, there is this massive population out there who actually already has everything, but they're somehow not participating. So we went down this rabbit hole of trying to understand why they're not participating. And one of the key things we saw is that the incentive model is not right. And a lot of gamers don't like cryptocurrencies. They don't understand what it is. It's not tangible. But $5 on Steam credit, they would go a long way for. So we came up with this idea of, okay, let's change the incentive model towards our target group that already has this really powerful machines out there. Because most crypto miners have to go and buy it, and then you need to amortize the whole thing. These gamers already have it. They just have electricity costs that they have to put in, and that's it. So that's how the whole thing came about, and yeah, how we got rolling.
So I guess the natural next question is, I mean, a lot of what our listeners are tuning in for is to hear about how you go from a really good idea to monetizing that. Now, in your case, it seems fairly straightforward, but just so our listeners understand, how do you guys get paid? What's your revenue model? Or for our listeners who might not even know what a revenue model is, how do you turn it all into money for your company?
Yeah, I'll answer that one. So I think it goes back to the other side of what Adrian just said. You know, we don't want the gamers to be getting these really intangible benefits of cryptocurrency that they have to maintain custody of and bring onto an exchange and trade around. So we're the ones who are doing that. We're taking custody of the byproducts of what they mine. And essentially that's what's driving our revenue. You know, gamers are mining cryptocurrency. We're the ones who are holding that essentially. And what we're instead granting out is rewards in the form of actual Steam, PayPal, Amazon, what have you. So we're earning from the computing tasks that the gamer GPUs are running.
And maybe I want to add here a few things. So for another thing that we do, like our product has a lot of rewards, right? So if you think about buying a $5 Amazon gift card, you might be able to get that at 5% discount. So we give it to the user at $5, but we buy it at 4.75. So we make 25 cents on that. It's not currently the case, but for certain rewards, we can do that because we can buy at wholesale. And we even try for like game codes, we try to get them at a really low price, but still sell them lower than what they would have to pay on a platform like Steam. And so it's kind of a win-win. So that's one of the monetization aspects that we're trying. Buy in bulk or partner with people so we have lower cost than what we give it to the user for. The other thing is we're currently doing this cryptocurrency mining. The idea is actually to use it for more distributed computing. So a lot of you guys probably heard about training AI algorithms. Like NVIDIA makes a lot of their money these days by selling to data centers, such as Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, Microsoft Azure. And people pay a lot of money to train their AI algorithms. And so this is like healthcare companies who try to figure out what are the new drugs. There's hedge funds that are trying to figure out new trading strategies based on AI algorithms. Just genome sequencing, all these kind of tasks that are very well suited for using the graphics card. And this is a place where we hope that we can. Currently, a user earns about 2 cents per hour with our platform. We hope we can boost that 5 times or even more, and then once we move into these new applications. And that's where we might actually also, because we build a marketplace on the other side for companies to use this distributed infrastructure, that's where we have a completely different pricing model, what it is for them that they have to pay. And that's a place where we would be liking to take a margin because it's a much more complex service that we offer. So that's where a lot more of the interesting economics for us come in. But in the short term, it's like we take no margin on the crypto, but we take a little bit on the reward side when we can. Okay.
So at what point did you guys decide we're committing fully to this? It's time to make this a full-time gig. Did anyone on your team leave another job or more comfortable circumstances to do this?
I think both Bob and myself, the founders, we very early on, we quit our jobs. So we were without funding and the salary for a few months. And then we brought on Tim, was our first hire as we had as we got the fundraising in, we had actually money in the bank. That's when we were able to bring on him full time and start paying ourselves the salary. But yeah, we took the leap of faith pretty quickly. And we were both Bob was working for a leading drone company. I was working at a cushy job in a strategy consulting firm, a lot of hours, but also decent pay. So we were not afraid of taking that and see how it works out. I think sometimes you need to do that.
I guess I took a commensurately smaller leap, having come in after that first round was established and there was at least some runway for Salad.
But still, it was a pretty good, well-established job at Amazon that you would have had.
I did leave Amazon.
And instead joined us, so also a leap of faith.
Any funny stories to tell from those early days?
Oh, I mean, you can.
I will tell one.
We have that incident.
So when we had our last meeting here, where we had most of the people in one location, Tim was showing us something on the rewards carousel, and he created a reward called Bob's Soul. And I think we put it into our rewards carousel for 1 cent. Or 5 cents, something like that. And unfortunately, we cannot, at that point, we could not refresh everyone's carousel. So even when we removed it, it was still in certain people's application. And we actually had someone buying our CEO's soul. So that was really funny. But yeah, obviously nothing much happened with that, but we all had an amazing laugh about selling someone's soul. And we got it back, don't worry. Our company has a soul again.
Well, that's good.
But yeah, Otherwise, things are going really well, and it's funny stuff like that happens all the time and keeps us entertained.
I mean, yeah, I'd hope you guys get his soul back, right? I mean, that's one of the things. I mean, I'd be super interested in a soul. That's one of those marketing techniques where it's like, is it real
Likewise.
or? So, how did you deal with times where maybe revenue and profit weren't what you were expecting? You know, what kept you guys going? You know, in the long run, was it just your belief in what the company can be and what it can do, or was it, for a lack of a better word, where you guys chips all in because you guys, some of you have left prestigious jobs, some of you moved? Like what kept you going during those sort of times, in the early stages, obviously?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think what really kept us going, at least Tim can talk for himself, but our vision is really to revolutionize the way that computing is done. And having more or less a large part of the population being able to take advantage of that, right? Like companies like Amazon make a lot of money with their data centers. We believe that everyone has an infrastructure for that at home. And think about it like Airbnb or Uber, that they democratize a certain market themselves. So with Uber today, you can just start driving for Uber and make some money with it. With Salad down the line, you can just turn on your computer and it will make a certain income for you by helping to actually do all these compute tasks that are out there. And that is obviously technology-wise, market-wise, like the user experience you need to create. This is all really, really difficult. But the reward of solving that problem and getting 400 million people in the world access to something like that, that's at least what kept me going when there are days where you might want to do something else and just maybe not continue working on something that you might run out of money soon. And we try to be as transparent with the team on how our financials are, what the challenges are that we see as a leadership. And we see that also towards our users. We feel like this is something that only can work if people actually work together on it. And so, yeah, certain stress situations we keep for us, but most of them we share. And we all both know how much runway we have when we're going to run out of money, why we need to go out and raise more money. I think that's at the end also the best, because that way you can create a strong team together.
And conversely, there will always be naysayers. The inflated prices of graphics cards a few years ago rubbed a lot of gamers and consumers the wrong way. Some people have expressed concern for a service like this about burning out their video cards. How do you guys address concerns like this regarding your business?
Right. So it's one thing to always pitch our lofty vision here, which is taking some of the GPU compute power away from the tech behemoths like Amazon, Google, and making that more democratic, like Adrian just said. But there really is that base concern for the person who's actually throwing their hardware at this network to make it work. And I think that really comes down to education. Our community manager is fantastic in managing people who come by and ask us questions and want to know more about Salad. He just put up a really interesting article last week about just crunching some of the numbers and benchmarking on whether mining actually is any worse for your graphics card than just some hardcore gaming for a few two-hour session, letting it cool down. And so it really isn't anything that the consumer should be worried about. Honestly, these GPUs, these are pretty intense pieces of hardware meant to last, and it'll go obsolete before you can do any lasting damage, so long as you're being intelligent about it and keeping it cooled and not doing more overclocking than you really should. So I'd say that's really how we're handling it right now. It's a lot of direct interaction with the gamer and the end user, and trying to just instill a lot of trust. So that comes from trying to be as transparent as possible with these guys, how we're using their hardware and what the future looks like.
And a good thing is crypto prices dropped lately, or most of the year last year. So AMD and NVIDIA have been flooding the markets with cheap graphics cards. So that obviously turns around things a little bit. So that's good for us because people are upgrading their graphics cards and becoming more valuable as well for us. So that's great. And we feel like one of the slogans we sometimes use is that we want to reclaim GPUs for gamers because we feel like, hey, that's where they actually belong, right, in a gaming computer. And we don't see why people don't want to participate in that if it's actually beneficial for them. And one of the most interesting things I saw is, I think it was Asus actually partnered with a crypto mining company. And a lot of gamers were worried about the warranty for their graphics card. And Asus more or less encouraged their users to actually do crypto mining with their graphics cards. And that shows you that they build graphics cards not for being used for 2 hours of gaming per day, but actually for 24/7 loads. And so I think that's the best testament you can get if one of the producers actually says, go and do it.
Yeah, I think public perception kind of messes with, any business, but I think with cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, I think since it's relatively new, at least for people hearing about it now, right? Blockchain technology has been around for the past, I think, a decade maybe, or something around that time, like a couple of years, but I think just now it's getting into the public limelight.
This is a really exciting time in gaming for a lot of different reasons. So what's the most exciting thing about what you guys are doing for you? What keeps you coming to work every day?
I just love Salad. This is a fantastic company with fantastic people, and it's great culture, so transparent. But when it comes to the nature of our work, I really do like just the idea of getting more people into this space. Crypto shouldn't have the reputation that it does as something that destroys hardware and is only used by criminals. The more, gamers, PC owners, and informed just technologists we can get into this space, it really does help everyone as a whole.
Yeah, and gamers are usually early adopters for technologies, and this whole crypto craze where GPUs became so expensive actually put a little bit of a wrench into it. And so we feel like by actually reintroducing them with a different concept to blockchain is also great. And right now our rewards are focused on real life things like an Amazon gift card, but we actually want to introduce so-called non-fungibles. So for example, game items. So they can actually, it's also a way of introducing them back into this whole blockchain world. And see what they actually gain from it. And I, for example, talked with the guy who developed the FIFA economy, in-game economy. And I told him about blockchain, and EA is scared about blockchain because they want to have control over what an economy looks like in-game. Because they don't want you to pay for one of their soccer players suddenly $500, even though it was only worth $1. But with a blockchain, you can actually create completely new economies and have true ownership over things in games. Today, a skin in Fortnite, it's owned by Epic. It's not yours. In the future, when it's on the blockchain, it could actually truly belong to you. And now think about it. You just let your computer run on Salad, and instead of taking out your credit card to pay for that skin in CSGO, in Fortnite, for that dance move, you just let run your computer overnight and while you're at school or at work, and you come back home and you buy something for free and it actually belongs to you. We just feel like that's a beautiful thing to work on at the end of the day.
So, quick caveat. How do you guys deal with, the electricity costs? I went onto your site and you guys have like a disclaimer where it's like, your revenue will be based off of your electricity costs. And I've seen these crazy images of people having 5-6 towers and they're mining and, people, and then they're just the electricity cost is so high. So where do you assure users or reaffirm them that, this is obviously safe for your computer, but, your PG&E bill might go up or might, it'll affect this. Where do you guys sort of help people through that?
So we try to do it on the website as well as on our FAQs and our help center. We're also building a calculator where people can actually put that in. And the problem with electricity costs, it's very local. Right now we're doing a $5 sign-up bonus. So if people just want to try it out, $5 goes a long way on your electricity bill. But I think it's going to be very interesting, right? Like we have people from Germany on our platform. They pay 3 times as much as people in the US. Some people care about it. Some people don't care about it as much. I know a lot of people who logged into Steam to get the trading cards. That also costs you electricity, but you get something in return, right? So we believe that it's at the end in the user's decision-making if they want to participate or not. But we want to give more and more tools so people can make actually informed decisions, because it's kind of the hook right now. Like, what is the hook of this whole idea? And the problem is the electricity cost that you have to pay for. And for some systems, for some systems and for some regions, it's worth it. And for some others, it's not.
You talked a little bit earlier about bringing people into gaming and bringing people into esports. And one of the biggest recurring headlines we've talked about on this show over the last few weeks is the increase in partnerships in the gaming space and the esports space. So what are you guys thinking about eventually partnering with bigger brands, Intel, Razer, Corsair, etc.? What's the end game for your business?
So we're actually talking with a few of these companies just to put out the feelers. We could see very different ways of partnering, right? For example, when it comes to a Razer, a lot of our users wouldn't mind getting a gaming mouse, so they could be one of the rewards in there. Or let's say an Overwatch loot box when you talk with Blizzard. Dreaming for the future, we also wouldn't mind actually, giving you guys a graphics card for free that then you just use for Salad for a year or two to pay it off. Things like that. Like for us, the sky is the limit on thinking on how we could actually partner with brands. We are also very interested in partnering with esports teams, with influencers, is it Twitch or YouTube? Because for us, it's also important to get our message out and actually having influencers that are excited about what we're doing. It's probably one of the best ways to get to our end users, because someone you follow on Twitch, you actually trust. And if they tell you about, hey, you can make some free money here by letting you run your computer, that's awesome. It's a win-win for both sides.
So, as we're wrapping this up, Adrian, do you have anything, say some words about your company, possibly anything, how crypto is viewed now, what your service is doing, sum up, I know you guys are really good at giving pitches to VC funding and stuff, but pitch your product to our listeners, pitch what it does, what you want people to know about it.
Yeah, I hope it was not too technology driven in the first part of our discussion here, but we hope that there's some interesting insights in there for listeners. But yeah, so Salad is more or less the easiest way for people to monetize their idle capacity of their computer. You're anyway sleeping, go to school, go to work. Just let your computer run in that time and let it earn money for yourself and buy a new game on Steam, a new skin for CSGO or something like that, instead of taking out your credit card, and become part of the hopefully largest distributed compute system in the future.
And how do people sign up?
Just go to salad.io, download our app, and get started.
Sounds great. Gentlemen, we really appreciate your time. Thanks for coming onto the show to talk about this exciting new service.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
And to talk about the history of your business as well. A lot of our listeners are aspiring business owners or service, creators in the industry, and I think it's really helpful for them to have these insights from you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us on the show as well. And we're looking forward. If some listeners have some questions, feel free to reach out to us. Join our Discord channel and reach out to us.
Thanks everyone for listening. Make sure to check back every week for more episodes. Our newest segment with the company, in case you missed it, can be found on Instagram at Esports Business News under that handle. If you have a moment to subscribe to the pod on iTunes and leave us a 5-star review or offer us some feedback, we greatly appreciate it. We love positivity, but also we want to make this show the best it can be. If you want to do more to support us, consider joining our Patreon under Top Score Solutions and get access to exclusive content and perks. We've also put links to our Discord, Twitter, Facebook, and website in a shortened link on the show post. We appreciate you listening. Stay gold, everyone.